Oh wow. Oh wow. It just happened. Welcome everyone, and yeah, I have never felt this tired and not wanting to play anything in quite some time. So yeah, I'm sorry for the slight delay. If you haven't noticed, this is post commentary, and we will be going through a portion of the Forest of the Giants here by the Cardinal Bonfire. I didn't want, I wasn't really interested in talking that much when I recorded this, and like I said, I was really tired and just not frustrated and angry, but you know where you really just don't give a crap about anything. Excuse my bad language, but or you just you really don't care much about nothing, and you just like, oh whatever. So I thought to myself, I might as well just play the area I'm going to play, but then I will do the recording on the following day. So this is the next day of the time I recorded it, and just so you know the time span, if you watched the previous video, I recorded it a day after. Then I'm doing this a day after the recording of the actual gameplay. So yeah, I was really tired. There will be a lot of running around in circles. I wasn't thinking too straight, and I'm not sure if I died, but I am certainly sure I was not efficient with my time, and I forgot where a lot of things were. I just really wanted to sleep. But anyway, it's really good that you are here joining us anyway. Last time I think we had just, what had we done in the previous episode? We'd met Melentia here by the Cardinal Bonfire, and we had found the path that needs the soldier's key. So right now we're searching for the soldier's key. Yes, that's exactly what we're doing, and we'll be going through this lower portion of the Cardinal Bonfire. To be honest with you, I think I remember the first time I played this area, it was really frustrating to play. The enemies, what makes it really hard is that the enemies have not multiple, but usually they come in a dual pathing in terms of them coming to attack you. Usually as you're facing one, there's one trying to either circle behind you, or there's one ambush waiting that only spawns when you pass it. So hence the reason why I stood there waiting for those two ambush to come back down, and I would take care of them without having to lead them up this tree trunk here and facing up with these guys. But besides that, if it's the first time I had done it, had like I said, all builds, like 99.9% of the builds I've made in every Dark Souls, yeah, so pretty much Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2, have always been melee builds, either quality builds or strength builds. I haven't done that many pure dex builds because they usually just end up in me making a quality build, because I just like using all the weapons in the game and mid-rolling. That's okay with me. But anyway, caster builds, I think before this, on for example on YouTube, I think I only uploaded one in the Souls Day Rekindled. I would actually like, if you have the time, for you to check that out as well. It should be right there on the front page of the YouTube channel. Just search for Souls Day Rekindled. It only went from 1 to 6, as it was just me playing Dark Souls, the first Dark Souls again, just for the sake of fun. And then Dark Souls 2 kind of came out, and I was like, well, I kind of need to play Dark Souls 2 so that I can actually make a playthrough of it after I'm done playing it. So when I at least know where some of the things are, and I can't get lost all the time. But yeah, so check that out, Souls Day Rekindle. So this is like a part 3. But besides that, I think I've only ever done a handful of sorcerer or caster builds, as I don't know, it never appealed to me that much. But that would be unfair to say, because I know there are many people out there who have played Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 2 and finished it like a multitude of times. For example, I have a friend, he once told me that he finished Dark Souls 1 17 times. And I know that may be much, but the reasoning behind it was that he has a YouTube channel and he's devoted it to Dark Souls content. So for example, when he needs footage of a certain particular boss, or footage of a certain particular cutscene or environment, and you know how the Dark Souls save system is like, once you pass a certain place, and it saves. That's it. Your one character only has one save file. You can't like chapter select and say, no, I want to go back when I was five hours into the game and replay it from there, or no, I want to load the save where I was 7 hours into the game. It doesn't work like that. It's just one save, one character, that's it. So in that case, yes, you have to replay it multiple times to get the set footage that you want. So hence why it is quite a pain to make Dark Souls content in terms of lore videos and stuff like that, as you have to keep on replaying the game over and over again. But the game is fun. So that's the upside to it. At least you're doing or playing a fun game. It's really good, it's really relaxing, and it's fun and challenging. So that was his take on it. So that's the reason why I didn't want to make a blind playthrough at the time. I remember I was like, I don't want to spoil the first experience of the game for myself. And I remember the reason why I said that was because if you think about it, when you first play a game, you don't know where the monsters are, for example. You do not know what's about to kill you. You do not know where the stage ends, or where the next checkpoint will be. So if I made a blind playthrough, you guys would have to watch me searching for places, because hence like I said, I don't know where the next checkpoint is or where the normal progression path would be. I would be lost, running around in circles, and that would end up either in me having to make extremely long videos with me trying to find the correct way to go, or me editing out a lot of footage, which is not so fun.
Hello there. Traveling all alone in these treacherous times. Well, I hope you have a very good reason. Oh, hogwash. Who am I to judge? My name is Pate. I journey hither and thither on a sort of treasure hunt, you might call it. Be careful out there. There's talk of unsavory bandits who prey upon travelers like yourself. Oh yes, you be cautious if you go any farther. There's treasure in there for certain, but the entrance locks from behind. I saw the same design earlier, and it's the same contraption, I'm sure. I was with this warrior, you see, and he insisted that he go inside first. The rather brusque fellow tried to swipe the loot for himself, but it trapped him inside. I still have the gent's ring. I do hope he wasn't harmed. I'll leave this one to you. I'm worried about what might be inside. I'll leave this one.
Oh, anyway, that was Pate's dialogue right there. I think we've exhausted everything we can, and we just have to go through this ambush. But what did I wanted to say? Actually, listening to Pate talk kind of sparked a thought that it should be common knowledge for most people who've played Demon's Souls, Dark Souls, and Dark Souls 2, but it sparked interest in the sense that in terms of just From Software's design philosophy as a company, in terms of making their games, like for those of you who don't know From Software's history as a company and what they've done during their lifespan, of course you can feel free to search for that on the internet, or if you are extra generous and have some time on your hands, I once put up a video called From Software Bought by Kadokawa. It was, I think I made that video a couple of months back, and at the time I was just talking about how management has switched hands. At first, how can I say this? Recently, it's like I said, From Software was a company that was established a long time ago in the 1980s, if I remember correctly, that is. And from then, it has released a lot of games. If you look at its business, how can I say this? If you look at the amount of games that From Software has either developed or been publishers of, they have this sort of philosophy of, if you look at their history, they produce a lot and a lot and a lot of games. Like, they mass produce a lot of games, and then they try to release them in as short a time span period as possible. That's how it was in the past. So some people criticized From Software by saying that they release a lot of bad games in hopes that, like, for example, if you release 10 games, you're hoping that one will catch on with the crowd and then you make money from it. You're just mass producing rubbish in hopes that someone will like something, you know what I mean? As compared to, for example, if someone were to release 5 games in 3 years, evidently they either have a lot of workers, of which From Software does not, or they are taking short periods of time to make each and every game. So they're not spending as much time in the detail of the game and in the development of the game, as compared to someone who would make one game in 3 years. They have the full 3 years to focus on that one game. They can focus on which publisher they would like. They can focus on developing the game and any errors in the game, details in the game, etc. And hopefully within that 3 years, they should be able to have come close to either finishing or finish making the game of their desire. So From Software in the past, that was them. They would mass produce a lot of games for the public in hopes that people would enjoy them. And like I said, it invited a lot of criticism, but hey, that's life. You will be criticized at one point or another.
Well, I see you managed to escape. I hope that brave warrior didn't come a cropper either. Be careful out there. There's talk of unsavory bandits who prey upon travelers like yourself. Oh, but you should take this. It allows undead to call out for help to one another across the fissures between worlds. With luck, somebody will lend you a hand. Well, I see you managed. I hope that brave be careful.
So anyway, as we were saying, they've made a lot of games, and most of the characters that you see, for example, this is just a small example. In Dāku Souru Tsu, there are some characters, like I had said, Pate was inspiration for me. There are characters, or should I say there are archetypes of characters, templates of peoples and their mannerisms that have been reused over and over and over and over again throughout most of From Software's games. For example, if you were to go onto the internet and search for Seath, right? Remember Seath the Scaleless from Dark Souls 1. You will find that Seath as a boss and as a NPC in From Software's games has appeared in many games such as Kingsfield and the Kingsfield series and Shadow Tower. Those are just the ones I know of head by now. He has featured as a white dragon, though his for example, the reasoning behind him being in those said games might have been different, but the name and the designs have evolved through time, but the concept is still the same. And so is Pate. Pate has been in many games as well, such as, for example, Demon Souls and Dark Souls, the first Dark Souls. I keep on forgetting the names, but in Demon Souls and in Dark Souls 1, you will always meet someone who will first befriend you, then lead you into a trap, and not take any, how can I say this, and not be held responsible for putting you in that trap and try to talk their ways out. That's kind of Pate's archetype. Is the swindler kind of guy. It's just the same in Demon Souls. Saint Urbain was trapped in the place with the ghosts, and he says that there's some thieving bastard who tricked me into falling into this hole, saying that it was the way out, but now I'm trapped and he needs your help. And that's the same person who led you down that hole. And it's just the same in Dark Souls 1. When you're in the catacombs, there is the person I keep on forgetting the name. who says if you go down here, there is a damsel in distress who's being guarded by two clerics, and they seem to be on a pilgrim. But it seems as if the two clerics might have gone hollow. Maybe you can help her. And he asks, are you aligned to the way of white? Do you like the church? That's the general question. Do you like the church? Are you happy with the church? If you say yes, then he'll be like, oh no, another one of you church fools. Like, he's against the church and kicks you down the hole. If you say no, then he'll say, oh, maybe you can help. Just look down there, treasures down there. Little do you know, they're actually just prism stones with different colors. Then he says, oh, look down there, there's treasure. Since you don't care for the church, maybe you can go in there and finish them off and get the treasure for yourself, since we are friends. And he kicks you down as well. So either way, I like the way From Software reuses concepts within their games, and it's quite interesting. One way I view it is that if you think about it like this, really before Kingsfield, before Shadow Tower, and before Demon Souls, From Software was not really a big name in countries outside of Japan, right? So you could argue that they were a small-ish company, relatively speaking. So if you are, as a company, considered not to be so renowned, but you think as a developer that your concepts are really good, it's just that no one is seeing them, you know what I mean? I've also had those situations in my life where I think to myself, for example, when I watch people's streams on Twitch, and then when I go play games with my friends online and we have this chat going on.
Is that here to see light? However,
when we have a chat going on and we're playing games, some of the jokes and the mannerisms and the discussions we have, just me and my friends, make us, like one of my friends once said, I wish we were streaming, or I wish we streamed, because I think some of the stuff we do and some of the things we say are so good that they would either inspire other people's streams to change, or like people would respect us, or like have fun with us, be entertained by our jokes, some of the jokes we share. I'm not trying to be boastful or proud, but that's just what he was saying. I was like, oh man, like for example, this time when we played Dota, it was so funny, we broke down in laughter. I wish, like he would tell me, I wish people were watching, because really that was some awesome stuff. It was very entertaining. But for example, I don't stream and he doesn't stream, so no one will ever really know. No one will know like the potential we have to be streamers, instead of just putting stuff up on YouTube. So it's the same kind of philosophy with From Software. They were like, okay, fine, we're still growing. One day we will attract a large audience. One day we'll have more fans. One day we'll have more people viewing our work. One day. And they just kept on taking what they thought was good and kept on, you may say it's laziness, but they just kept on reusing it, refining it, reusing it, refining it, changing it and applying it into different concepts, taking certain characters and applying them into different environments as when they were first created. And they just kept on seeing which characters and which environments, which settings would best suit one another. But then when they released Demon Souls, it's when you could argue that they got the formula right. They, in terms of a medieval game, RPG, stamina system, action and RPG elements, they got it right. That's the game when they partnered up with Sony, and then they got famous from it. It's like From Software existed, and someone may argue right now that From Software was known before Demon Souls. I would say that's a valid argument, but one thing I would like for you to acknowledge is that Demon Souls, if their fame before Demon Souls on a scale of 1 to 10 was a 4, Demon Souls definitely took them up to either a 7 or an 8, if not a 9, in terms of a scale up to 10 in terms of global fame as a company. So, my question is, what I can already tell with Bloodborne that there are some concepts that are gonna be reused. For example, let's take it back to Dark Souls 1, right? You are undead, you are cursed with this curse of being undead. You can't die. Each time you die, you're just reborn at a bonfire. But the more you die, the more you'd go hollow and you degrade. The more you die, you degrade. Sort of like Alzheimer's disease. The more you grow older and you are affected by the disease, the more your brain and body disintegrate. And so the more you died, you go hollow. But then if you find humanity through whatever means necessary, you can use that humanity to rekindle yourself, rekindle this flame within you, so that you would stay living. But if you gave up all hope, you would go hollow and become mad. If you continue to die multiple times and lose hope or keep on dying over and over again, you would go hollow and go insane. And then you being insane would, like, how can I say this? You would hunt those that have this humanity. You would hunt those who have souls, because that's just the nature it is. You are taken over by instinct now. So grab that concept. Now let's look at demon souls, right? There's the old one, this being that was planted on the earth as a sort of check, right? And by check I mean this: the more humanity progressed and the more humanity delved into the soul arts, as people and soul arts were intertwined, right? So the more, how can I say this, the more people got enlightened as to their own potential in the world, technically the more powerful they'll become. But if they crossed a certain boundary of being uncontrollable, the old one would wake up and start killing people. But the old one wouldn't kill people directly. Instead, what the old one would do would unleash demons onto the earth, and these demons would go around devouring people's souls. And then they'll take these souls and feed it back to the old one. So, in essence, the old one will take all this extra power that people do not need due to their hubris in earth, and then feed it back to him so as to balance earth. So it would almost devastate humanity and almost kill everyone, but people would always survive and lull it back into slumber. So now when people lost their souls...
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just daydreaming, I think. My name is Kale. I'm a traveler like yourself. I'm navigating the continent to create a map. Why cartography, you ask? Well, that's a good question. When I first came to this forsaken land, it was... a curse? Something about a curse? How embarrassing. I seem to have lost my focus. But I do know one thing for certain. I have always been very fond of maps. I came to this land some time ago. Drangleic, the Lost Kingdom. It sounded so romantic. Have you seen Majula? Oh, there's a rather spacious mansion there. I've made it my temporary home. Well, as something of a squatter, I'm afraid. Inside the mansion, I found a strange map, like none I'd ever seen. I believe that it's a map of Drangleic. Now I'm traveling the land to prove it. Yes, that's it. That's why I came to the kingdom. Wait, no, that wasn't it. Then what? I don't seem to recall. Were you looking for that map? Wonderful. Then you're fascinated by maps, just like me. Shame on you. You should have told me before. Here, take this. A key to the mansion. What a joy to meet a kindred spirit out here. Incredible, really, isn't it? Such a map to be chiseled in stone. Oh, but one thing. I can't be certain, but I've heard disturbing noises. Something about it feels wrong. Just be careful, please. I'll be back in Majula. Perhaps we will meet again and discuss map. I'll be back. Perhaps we will.
Okay, that was Kale, the cartographer. As I was saying, when the demons and demon souls came and attacked humans, they would not, like, when they were done doing whatever they did to the humans would not die, but instead they would become hollow and soul starved. That was the words used, soul starved, a being, an entity that no longer has its soul and goes mad. It goes mad and loses all its consciousness and just becomes an instinctual beast. And when these hollows become hollow, they do not just sit there and say, oh no, oh my god, no, I have no soul, and they just sit and cry. That's not really the case. Instead, they sense those beings around them that still have souls, i.e. the human beings fleeing away. But then they think to themselves that, okay, I need to satiate my hunger for souls, this state of being soul starved. I need to satiate it by getting souls, and hence the hollow attack the humans. So these concepts are being reused always and being refined and being tweaked into different uses, different environments, different atmospheres. So far what I've gathered from Project Beast, from I think I just forgot the name, Bloodborne, there we go. What I gathered from Bloodborne was that in terms of the story so far, people are drawn to this land in Bloodborne. I'm not sure what the name of the land is, just the same way as people are drawn to Drang Lake and Lordran in Pilgrim to search for this destiny that they have that they do not know. So people are drawn to this place in Bloodborne because of this disease that has cursed them, just like the curse of undeath, but this disease flows through their blood. And what happens with this curse, this disease, is that if you who is cursed do not gain more blood, it will consume you and turn you into a beast, and you will lose all consciousness of yourself, and instead seek blood in others that have, as you don't have blood anymore. And by not having blood, I don't mean you'll just dry up, but think about it like this. If you were to take tomato soup, let's just say you just cooked tomato soup, you've got it in the kitchen. If you do not eat that tomato soup immediately, it will go cold. Think of that as turning into a beast. Your soup is going cold, slowly but gradually, and when it's now cold utterly, then you are this beast. But what can you do to make that soup warm again? Let's take out the normal things such as reheating it up on the stove, oven, microwave, etc. Think about it like this. If you took hot soup again, like very hot soup, and you mixed it in with the cold soup, the total would become either warm or hot soup again, depending on the quantity of the hot soup to the cold soup. So this is the case. You are the soup that's going cold, and you are looking for warm or hot soup to mix in with your own cold soup. That's pretty much this concept of seeking souls and seeking misery, the concept that FromSoftware keeps on reusing in these medieval fantasy games that they keep on making in the forms of Kingsfield, Shadow Tower. Shadow Tower is a bit different though. That I may cover in another video altogether. Actually, I think I'll cover it in another video altogether. If they release more information about Bloodborne, I'll do a Bloodborne Shadow Tower comparison. I think that'll be fun. But That's what I really like as From Software as a developer. But one person may argue that after some time it will get old, like playing the same old medieval fantasy game archetype will get old over time, and I actually do agree. From Software has made other games. For example, if you were to look at Ninja played a game that didn't do so well that was made by From Software. It was about a powerful ninja with multiple powers. It was a very hack and slash action based, skill based game, nothing similar to Dark Souls. And this ninja is in modern day, or should I say somewhat pseudo future, and there is a organization that this ninja is trying to battle, and your point is to destroy all, like the organization is evil. It has the powers of darkness and evil and demons. Such is the organization, and your point as the ninja in this game is to stop this from all happening. You want to stop this organization from continuing what it's doing. So it was a totally different game. It didn't really sell well, but it was nothing like any Souls game. It was nothing like Bloodborne, nothing like any Shadow Tower or whatever game that From Software has made. It was really different. Like I said, hack and slash, over the top action, and good cinematics. Even the way the story is told is different. Even though the game didn't do well, it was really not so good. I wouldn't advise you go buy it. You can play it if you want, if you can find a place to play it for free, but I wouldn't advise you actually spend your money on it. But my whole point is, I would like to see From Software do something different. I would like to see From Software make a game that has nothing to do with Souls or the Souls lore or the Souls way of telling things or these archetypes that they've created. I want them to create something new, something fresh, in hopes that they come up with a new gem. For example, like I was saying, Demon Souls and Dark Souls are not games that are good because of what they achieved. I think Demon Souls and Dark Souls are games that became good and became renowned because of all the history behind them. All the games that From Software had made, that or RPG medieval fantasy games that they'd made before them, are kind of the accumulation. They accumulated and made what Demon Souls and Dark Souls is today. The only difference was that Demon Souls and Dark Souls, From Software finally managed to get funding from very big publishers, and they were actually given leeway to spend more money in developing the game, that the ideal game that they wanted, and they ended up hitting a jackpot. They ended up making the game what they wanted it to be. But that I don't know. Whether they'll make something new or not is beyond my hands. It's only in the hands of the executives in their company and in Kadokawa. But such is the future. Only the future will tell. Thank you that you have been here for all this time. Now you can watch me kick some monster ass, some giant ass. Anyway, I shall see you soon and check you out. Have a good weekend.